underground. And I believe that the fallen angels were actually astronauts that were coming back to our planet, and after years there was all these people, just that were not from underground, did not have any technology, and they looked upon them as angels and gods. And I read a book called The Search for Angels, and if the first angels were seen coming down from a mountain. They were tall men. They were really, white skinned, and they had long hair, white and long beards. And I believe that they were astronauts, and there were enlightened beings, and there were all these other people that didn't have a clue what was going on.
What do you think of that theory, William? Let's get his take.
Well, this goes back to Enoch, who we discussed earlier, who was taken up into heaven as the sole pure example of this pre-flood civilization that she's describing. Enoch was taken because he was a master of this esoteric lore. He was pure-hearted, and as a result of that, he's taken up into heaven and transformed into the archangel Metatron, whom some claim is actually a seraphim. So I think that there was an effort on behalf of whoever this being was, in this case the Archangel Michael and whoever he was working under, to save an element of humankind that perhaps we did misuse technology, as so many people believe. Perhaps we're in the midst of doing that now. And by the model of Enoch, I would say that the way that the place we want to focus our energy and emotion and time is how we transform ourselves into these glorious light beings rather than the technology. This is the way out.
Before we go back to final calls, take just a moment to tell us what's new on WilliamHenry.net and also Soul Rising.
Thank you very much, George. Yeah, I'm introducing the new iteration of my website, WilliamHenry.net, which features Soul Rising and my new DVD set, The Awakening, The Transformation, The Ascension. It's largely artwork-driven, George, because the belief here is that the secrets of the light body, of the rainbow body, are transmitted not in writing, but through artwork. The belief is that this artwork itself can transmit this energy and these secrets. So I've got perhaps the world's largest collection of this rainbow body art and transfiguration art included in this presentation. And people that have seen it live and also on the DVD are telling me that it literally lights them up. It does transmit this energy, and I'm thrilled to offer that to people as a DVD set and also as an 11 by 17 book of frameable art.
Good for you. What do you prefer, DVDs or books? You have fun doing both.
I love DVDs. I thoroughly enjoy. I mean, one of the best and favorite things that I get to do is to interact with audiences and share this with people and see the expressions on their faces as this artwork lights them up and transforms them. People still want books, but more and more I see the DVD as the vehicle of the future.
Thomas is in Warren, Michigan, first-time caller. Hey, Thomas, go ahead.
Hi, how are you guys doing tonight?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, my question has to do with all the illustrations and artwork that you have researched. These guys who did the artwork didn't obviously live in the same time period, and if they did, they couldn't possibly talk to each other. Have you looked at the origins of, say, where they come up with the concept, if there's anything in common with the illustrators themselves?
Ancient artwork in the illustrations. Go ahead, William.
Yes, some of the icons of, especially the Transfiguration of Jesus, are considered to be contemporary representations. You're right. There were eyewitness accounts to these events, but there are no photographs. So we are dealing with artistic interpretations that are strikingly consistent across the ages and across different cultures, and that's what fascinates me. In other words, the way the Tibetans show this is the same way the Christians show it. So they must be either A, copying each other, or B, pulling from the same kind of source code. And the longer I look at this, the more I think that these artists are, people like to use the word channeling, that might be a right way, but they're tapping into this cosmic artistic code and pulling down this imagery, and that explains the consistency of this imagery to me.
Next up, we go to Mike in Butte, Montana. We'll squeeze you in here. Mike, go ahead.
Hey, hi, George. Great show. I wondered what your guest thought of the symbology of the Arubis. I hope I pronounced that right. And then I wanted to ask him, too, if he'd ever run across in Brad's Steiger's book, that Atlantis Rising, the Oxo prophecy from that Robin McPherson in British Columbia. And then Casey speaks to the Elaine Vital and that all matter is just electrical, spiritual in nature. So how does that relate to like quantum theory and string theory? What's
all right? Take your pick, William. Minute to go.
Ah, boy, good question. I just feel we inhabit a very small spectrum of all that is, and to think that we are all that is just not a workable scenario. And what this is all about is us expanding our minds, expanding our hearts to embrace and become more full spectrum beings. And that's what I feel that this rainbow body tradition is all about. It's enhancing human capability, it's embracing our full capabilities, and just widening our perspective, being able to feed our imagination with this imagery actually feeds the light body and will help us to widen our perspective and become more full spectrum beings, as electrical beings, as spiritual beings.
So, William, over the next course of the year and a half to 2 years, we're going to be okay?
I think we're going to be okay. I think it's going to be a bumpy ride. Buckle up is my advice to everybody.
Don't fall out, right?
Yeah, get in alignment with your higher self, your true self. Speak truth, speak your truth. Act in as righteous and godly way as you possibly can. We're standing in front of the throne of God. Let's start acting that way, and everything will be okay.
Are you bringing the new wife, Claire, to the conscious life?
Yes, I am.
All right, I'll get a chance to meet her then. William, you take care of yourself. William Henry. For Dan Galante, Tom Danheiser, Lisa Lyon, Lex Lonehood, Sean Ladesseur, Stephanie Smith, Ross Mitchell, George Nappy, and Pundit and Art Bell, I'm George Norrie, somewhere out there on Coast to Coast AM. We'll see you on our next edition. Until then, be safer.